Hi,
Hi, Ryan.
how you
Hi,
doing?
everyone. Good.
You sent me a photograph of how you did your setup. It was really great. Your son, I guess, built part of it in Lego, so that's fantastic.
Yeah, he's a Lego master.
All right. Um, and so, listen, can we think about how we know each other? I think we met each other when you were in Tucson for your show, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. We had
We,
dinner together.
yeah, we ate at the Clifton Hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just remember that conversation was one of those conversations where we were eating and we kind of lose a little track of time. At least I did. And
Yeah.
it felt like it could keep going on. So I appreciate you, joining again. I want to talk some more. So that's great.
Same.
Yeah. And for those of you who've just joined, I just want to let you know a little bit about Doodle with me. It's about 30 minutes of idle chat and aimless drawing, which means that you can join us as we chat. You can join us to draw. And the drawing doesn't have to look like anything. This is not an assignment. You're not producing anything. You're doing it for yourself. And I'm hoping that after tonight, people continue to keep doodling and drawing and not judging, just kind of going with whatever's coming out, because it's a great process. So, all right. So do you want to doodle together?
Yeah.
Okay, let's turn our
I don't know if
camera.
this tripod is gonna work. I want to just
Okay, I wish I were there to help catch anything that falls, but let's see. It looks
check out this tripod.
it looks great.
Okay.
The lighting looks good. All right.
I
All
know.
right, so at this point, folks, just go ahead and grab um, some paper or whatever you can find around, and I will get my camera set up too. And you're probably seeing my palm right now.
I think I have it upside down. I'm gonna try something.
Sometimes it, yeah, sometimes it's upside down. So sometimes we face each other, and other times it's not.
Okay. I'm gonna try something.
All right, no hurry.
I think there it is.
Okay,
Is
and
that
do
right
you?
side up?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think. Well, put your hand in it. That's how I'll know. Okay, it is.
Okay.
All right. So, is drawing part of your process in the studio?
Uh, yeah, it's always been. I've always drawn
Uh-huh.
since I was a little kid,
Yeah.
and then I don't know why I started doing it less and less,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then I just missed it.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a very important part of my practice, and
Right.
so now I'm trying to get back at it. So this was fun for me
Oh, good.
to do this assignment.
Assignment. Well,
Assignment.
I know. I sometimes I have a teacherly tone in my voice, and I'm not proud of that. It just comes from the fact that I do that to make a living. But yeah, one thing I haven't, not really until the pandemic. It was interesting what happened with the pandemic is when it started, I saw a marker set online, and I thought, oh, I'll just buy this marker set, and it was like I don't know, like maybe 50 markers or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just started to draw again because I was excited by my materials. Uh,
Yeah, that's a big part of it, I think.
so is that kind of how things start with you? Is it the materials, or is there an idea before the materials? I guess
Uh,
it's not always the same. I know that. But
yeah, like I like setting up my studio before I work. I don't know. I'm like a neat freak. So
oh, good.
I like going into the studio and I usually like clean up before I start working. I don't know why.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
a
yeah.
habit. And and lately, like yesterday, I decided that my studio is really cold in the morning, so I don't usually want to go in there.
Yeah.
'Cause I set up a studio in like in the woods.
Uh-huh.
So I decided I would move the my drawing table into the living room, and I did that yesterday.
Uh-huh.
So my plan is that eventually I can just sort of like doodle in the living room while like, my kids are running around or I'm
Yeah.
preparing dinner or whatever, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't always feel like what I'm doodling is turning out to be, it's more for me just almost like a warm up or
Hmm.
something. So sometimes I'll do it to warm up, or sometimes I'll do it at the end of the day. Um,
Hmm.
uh, but lately I've been thinking, well, why does it have to be something that I don't take seriously? And I guess part of it is that because I don't take seriously, it's more enjoyable.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think I started taking my job too seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And I think part of the reason why I moved to the country was to sort of get away from all that. And then there was the pandemic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Was it was the pandemic that what made you feel like you wanted to move out into the country? And you're in El Tule, is that where it is?
well, Tule is a ranch we have like 40 minutes from my house.
Oh, okay.
Um, but no, now I'm in closer to I'm in a town called Acatitlan in the state of Mexico, and it's a very small town. It's closer to a a bigger town called Valle, so it's more
Okay.
like a resort town.
Uh-huh.
Um, and yeah, so we moved here, and like my whole sort of focus changed a bit, obviously. And so now I'm like just trying to figure out what I want to do
Right.
with my time.
Yeah, because in some ways, like at least I find with how I make work, it's depending on where I'm living, I find I have to kind of catch up to where I'm living, you know.
Yeah, that
My
takes
stuff,
time, you know?
yeah, my stuff changes.
Hmm.
And this idea that, it has to stay the same is probably, well, it's not real because we don't stay
Yeah,
the same, right?
I agree. No, so yeah, my idea is that I draw more now. So I
Okay.
really, and then I draw a lot with my daughter. She's a good drawer, so she's a good motivation to draw, because she does it
Uh-huh.
so it's so fun to draw with kids.
Yeah. Why is it fun? I don't
Because
have
they,
kids. I don't know.
they it's it sounds like a cliche, but it's just so free, their process. Like they just, naturally can do it.
Yeah.
And then I get like really good ideas from like
Yeah.
drawings. Like she drew this really cool drawing of like of a jello the other day.
Uh-huh.
It was like a rainbow jello,
Uh-huh. Nice.
super cool. And I was like, that would be a really cool painting. So I'm like trying to rip off some of her ideas for paintings.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's good. No, I think it is. It's probably very inspiring because, yeah, there's probably not as much internal judgment going on,
Yeah.
Or the idea it has to look a certain way to be considered finished, or that's my big thing is like sometimes being concerned about something looking finished or done. And, I sometimes don't know when to stop, or sometimes I stop too soon, it's a lot of that.
Yeah. The dilemma, the
The
eternal
do.
dilemma.
Yeah. Is it? And I tend to work very slowly, so the doodling is fast for me, and I like that.
Hmm.
And so you've moved from the city to the country, uh,
Yeah.
and what is that like?
It's been radical,
Yeah, and,
in good and bad ways. Not bad ways, but just like ways that I never expected, because we tend to like romanticize the country a lot.
Yeah.
And then when you move there, you know, it's like it's I found that it's like quite a harsh life, but like in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
Like walking my dog here in the country is like an adventure because I'm probably gonna like meet a bunch of angry dogs on the way, and you know, you have to like walk with a stick and be ready to like uh attack the angry dogs in the way.
Oh yeah.
So in the beginning, it was always like, fuck, like, do I really want to go out for a walk? Because it's going to be like uh, a real sort of adventure.
Yeah.
I mean,
It
that's a very stupid
no.
example, but the truth is like that, or like taking out the trash. It's like, you know, it's the trash truck comes once a week, and it's quite far from my house.
Mm.
So it's a process, you know.
Yeah.
Not a process, but it's like it's not like you know, in the city we have everything so readily available to us, and also my material, you know, I have to wait like 2 weeks before I go back to the city and are able to like buy the shit I need and that kind of thing.
I mean, it's funny because when you were talking about the dogs, I was laughing because we have wild dogs in our neighborhood too. And
Hmm.
so going out for a walk is not enjoyable. And I live in the city.
Yeah,
But it's just people let their dogs run around loose, you know,
yeah.
in my neighborhood, and it's a different kind of thing.
Hmm.
So yeah, like we're like, oh, we want to go for a walk, but it's not that relaxing. And then it is kind
Yeah,
of, and I think sometimes when I'm having to deal with like those situations, I'm always having to deal with myself as like an animal myself. Like the more I'm
yeah,
around, the more I'm around animals, I feel like the more I'm having to um, understand like the animal part of my thinking, you know?
yeah, very much so. I think when you yeah, I think it's like reprogramming and understanding that like um it's I don't know, I think you put it, I don't know how else to put it, but for me it was very much that like sort of uh seeing things from a different perspective. And so I think I was also very apprehensive with my dog, and then I just sort of like let her be. And it's almost like, yeah, like what you said, like trusting nature to do its thing or something. I don't know,
Yeah, yeah,
something
yeah.
like that. And then also yourself getting into the mindset of like uh um you know how there's like a cycle to nature, and so I'm like slowly learning that 'cause it's been over a year and a half that I've been here.
Mm,
So it's like getting in that mind frame, you know, like you know, winter's like a little slower and it's a little drier here, and
mm,
um you know, and then when the rainy season, because it's like 6 months of the year here, it rains every single day.
mm-hmm.
It's a total different landscape. It's very humid and like very magical. um and you know, it's like that, like it's stuff that in the city you just don't uh I guess you're just not familiar, or you forget all that, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely buildings and like more human kinds of like architecture or more human-based activities, you start to think less and less about your
Hmm.
natural environment. I mean, the nice thing about weather is it's something we all share, so you can always talk to everyone about the weather because we're all influenced by it, you know. But
Hmm.
but things like architecture, you just when you're out, you're kind of out in the country, you don't have as much human-based architecture, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been thinking about a little bit about animal behavior too because we have a new cat, and so the new cat is with our old cat, and
Hmm.
our old cat's only a year old, and they're definitely negotiating territory, And it started to
Hmm.
get me to think about how me and my partner kid, like, how are we constantly negotiating territory? You know,
Yeah.
you know, are we doing the same kinds of things these cats are doing, or is it just the cats are starting to make me crazy? I don't know.
I found that I've laid back when you start like being more in tune with sort of the natural cycles of things. You know, like you realize that things actually take time. So you don't have that pressing thing of like wanting to be like productive all the time or wanting to. So I've become a little more contemplative, I think. And at first that like was like throwing me off. And then I'm like, what? I should just be okay, you know, like looking at a tree for a really long time, which is what I
Yeah.
do lately. It's like what I do.
Well, it's a weird thing. It's like, when did I get when? Because when I was a kid, I always daydreamed and, looked out the windows, and that was part of just like being a kid. And then at some point, I guess I turned it off because I was told that I wasn't paying attention. But it might have been that
Mhm.
I wasn't paying attention to the things that people wanted me to pay attention to. You know,
Yeah.
uh, and I always, so it's taken me a while to say, part of my process, just part of me, you know, being a human, is to uh, look at dust particles, which I did a lot today. I looked at dust particles in the light, and
Hmm.
I didn't really, nothing came out of it. Nothing was produced. There were no results. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
I can talk about it today, so I guess that's a result.
Yeah.
But other than that, and I think somehow, like, you know, the show was begun with the pandemic. In a way, for me, I think that this virus and all the viruses with it kind of have maybe slowed people down a little bit, or
I
made
was
them decide
hoping,
to change things.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I mean, for some people it did. But then, you
Mm.
know, I also see the opposite, you know. It's like a tendency of people to rather want to just go back to the usual comfort. You know, once they realize they're like, okay, we're okay, then it's like I think we get both sides of the coin.
Yeah. I was I moved to New York about a week after 9/11, and I lived right above Tribeca, so it was like this really weird time. But one of the things that was really interesting was a couple things. One was that the people on the subway, or people just in the street, seemed to. I reached my limit.
Yeah.
I'm back now. Uh,
Okay, cool.
I put a 2-hour limit on my Instagram.
Okay.
So anyway, I was talking about New York, and one of the things. So there's two things. No, remember President Bush saying, "Okay, everybody, go back shopping." So everyone started to go back shopping. They're like, you need to start shopping. You need to start being a citizen. So the New York kind of got back into the swing of things. But before that, there was a kind of a, people were timid, you know,
Hmm.
and also kind of strangely polite.
Hmm.
And that was an interesting thing, that it did change things a little bit, and maybe
Yeah.
made people feel, um, I don't think, yeah, that's all. That's because it made me think, somehow something you said made me think about that.
Yeah.
And just, yeah, I think the prioritizing, because for me at the time, I was like, I'd never been in it through, I'd never seen a city kind of go through that, which I imagine people who live in
Hmm.
cities that get bombed and things like that are much more used to that kind of thing.
Hmm.
Uh, and so I'm not, so that they kind of figure out how to maybe, I don't know how they normalize it. But so it was interesting
Yeah.
for me to see that. I mean, LA has lots of earthquakes, so that's something different. But I mean, that was
Mexico City Also, we had a terrible one a few years ago, and that was like insane.
Yeah.
I forgot how. I mean, that was the last one that was that bad. I was 5 years old, and I still remember it.
Mm. Yeah, the weird thing about the last earthquake I experienced was in LA. The weird thing about that was that I met my neighbors for the first time. They actually, there were some neighbors I knew, but the majority of the block came out all at the same time, and it was a little bit like, okay, we've gone through this earthquake, but everyone was checking each other out. How you doing? You know, and but also meeting each other for the first time. You know, strange. I mean, we'd been living there for years.
What's the saying in English? Is it stop and smell the roses, or is it like stop it? I was gonna put stop and smell the flowers, but that's not the saying, right?
It is roses. For some reason, they
It's
want us to
roses.
smell roses. Yeah.
I'm gonna put roses, even though she's not smelling a rose.
What is your favorite? What kind of smells do you like?
Ah, good question. I hate sweet smells. I hate perfumes.
Mm.
I never wear perfume.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I I love the smell of rain.
Yeah.
Like when it here, it's incredible. The first rains here after the dry season. I remember coming out of the house, and we had a dry season for 6 months, so it's really dusty. And I'm like, I had like seasonal allergies that are really bad.
Mm.
And the first rain, I came out, and it was like the best smell in the world. Like that, like musky, sort of fresh forest smell.
Mm-hmm.
I love that smell.
I do too. There's in Tucson. The creosote is a great smell. It's like a plant that kind of, when it rains, it really almost like a chamomile smell.
Ah,
But
that's nice.
yeah.
Yeah, good smell.
And in LA, the rain smell usually was kind of like a wet cement smell. But I liked that too.
Yeah. What other smells do I like? There's a lot of like really great wild is it wild the word? Like just like silvestres in Spanish. Like just herbs. I
Yeah.
took a
Yeah,
I,
wild is good. Yeah.
yeah, so
Thank you.
and you know we have like wild anise. What's the I don't know how to translate anise,
That's, I
but
know it. Yeah, and it's the same. Anise is the same. You're
and
talking about the kind of like a licorice root.
yeah,
Yeah.
when you go out in the field, you can like smell it really strongly. It's really
Mm-hmm.
delicious.
Right.
Things like that, you know, that you just pick up when you're walking. I do a lot of walks in nature,
Uh-huh.
and it's really nice when you just stop. So like a smell just like grabs you, and so we have some of that around here.
That is nice. I'm trying to think. What other smells? I like the smell of daisies. It's not really sweet. It's kind of strong and pungent. Because when I was a kid, my parents had daisies in the backyard, and
Oh, nice.
I was thinking about there was like a moment when I was with the daisies, and I had a thought, and the thought was something like, I remember the smell of daisies, and I think I was playing by myself in the daisies, and I think it was like I was basically enchanted by little daisy fairies or elves or something. Something was going on that was completely disconnected from like reality. And then at some point I remember thinking to myself, this isn't real. Like, if I want to make this more believable, I'll have to start imagining things about people that I know. I was like, what a weird thought to have as a kid, you know?
Yeah.
First of all, like telling myself something wasn't real. But the interesting thing is, I think you can be enchanted by smells, you know, that they do have a
Yeah.
personality or something.
Or memories
Yeah.
that, you know, they spark. They're like crazy uh in that way, like related to memory.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. So with the new, so when, so this ranch that you recently have,
Yeah.
is this is something that you're doing by yourself or with other people?
No, we I think it came about because about 5 or 6 years, actually 6 years ago, um, I was looking to buy land outside of Mexico City because I've always sort of wanted to do that.
Hmm.
Strangely, like when I moved here, my mom said something really crazy. My dad had just passed away about like a year or so ago, maybe,
Mm.
and then the pandemic hit hard, and and uh so one of the partners who we had bought the land about 6 years ago moved to the town where I'm at now.
Mm. Hmm.
And with the idea that we would be closer to that project.
Hmm.
So for me, it was like a very natural uh, opportunity to be like, oh, hey, well, why don't I just go see if there's a few houses for rent over there? And maybe we'll move with you and start like really working on that project. And so in like a week, I decided to move and my whole family was on board. And when I
Hmm.
told my mom, since it was like a tricky time to tell her I was going to move out of the
Mm.
city,
Hmm.
um, her reply was like, "Oh no, it's like perfectly normal. Like I always knew you would do that." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "When you were 10 years old, you said to me, and I never remember that I came up to her and said, when I'm old, I'm going to live in Valle and I'm going to be an artist and I'm going to have two kids and like I'm going to paint in an attic." And it's like,
Wow.
it was like a little like, yeah, like a strange premonition.
Yeah. And you manifested it. You made it
I
happen.
manifested it without even knowing.
That's
And
great.
so now the fact that we're closer to the land has been really nice because now it's we go there very often and it's quite a an ambitious project. It's a almost 200 hectares of land in the middle of nowhere
Mm.
in the mountains in the state of Mexico.
Hmm.
And the idea is that we're sort of building a self-sustainable uh, ranch where we have done a lot of work with uh, water management
Hmm.
and built doing like a lot of work with roads so that we can direct the water and use it to irrigate the land. And we've done a reserve and we've planted about 4 hectares of coffee and fruit trees. And it's just like it just keeps getting like uh, more and more uh, interesting, I guess. And it's something I really enjoy.
Is the idea that it's a place where it's just for you and your family, or is it uh, larger ambitions than that?
It's a few families that are involved in it.
Oh, okay.
I think it's about right now, um, I don't know, like 6 families or so.
Uh-huh.
We were out there this New Year's for the first time. We all camped there, and
Uh-huh.
it was fun. Um, so we all have like this. We weren't like great friends. We just sort of like became friends with this. We all had this common goal that we wanted to, learn from the land and like try to, invest time in doing this project. So and everyone has sort of brought their own interests. So we've sort of learned each other's interests. So a good friend of mine, she wanted to learn about bees. So now we have like 40 beehives, and we're sort of like learning how to harvest their honey and all that. She's also a what do you call, like, panadero, like a bread.
Oh, bread, yeah.
How do
Baker?
a baker, yeah. So
Yeah.
she's, you know, like, oh, it's been nice that way, because we've sort of, yeah, we're learning from each other. And
Oh, nice. And
I don't
everyone,
know, to be
it's not,
honest, it's like an incredible opportunity for me to sort of get away from the art world.
yeah, yeah. The art world is, um,
And
not always a
you
nice
know,
place.
yeah, and have other interests, and sort of,
Right.
I think, very sort of, I yeah, it requires some I think a certain amount of, I what's the word, like humbleness or something,
Uh-huh.
to to sort of go to places like this and just sort of like learn by watching, and assuming that you don't really know things, and that it's nice to
Well,
you know
it,
learn, yeah, learn
yeah.
things from in a different way or something. I don't know.
Well, it also sounds like you're with a group of people that all have different kinds of skills, so you're all doing it together. I think sometimes the art world emphasizes kind of individuality so much, um, and kind of isn't always thinking collectively that it must be nice that way too. That there's an aspect of collaboration that you may not see as much in the art world.
Yeah, I think more and more I gravitate towards uh trying to frame my work in through that lens. Like, I think I've always sort of gravitated towards collectivity, and a lot of my projects uh sort of um deal with that.
Yeah, yeah.
and and it wasn't until very recently, it was actually in the pandemic. My partner, he's in education, and he specifically is sort of like focusing on sort of starting a platform where you look at nature as like as a teacher that would
Mm,
sort of help us develop the necessary skills for what's to come, because we're obviously facing a very challenging future.
yeah.
And so nature, his sort of thesis is that nature has been solving problems in a very intelligent way for like billions of years, literally. So there's a few sort of characteristics inherent in nature, like, ideas about resilience and flexibility and empathy and collectivity that are obviously not ingrained in our education systems. So he's very immersed in that, and I think with our move to Valle, and then I think it was maybe after I read Donna Haraway's book Staying with a Problem,
Uh-huh.
which I used as research for my uh, last show,
Yeah, yeah.
um, that it sort of clicked, like this idea that uh, nature was this incredible example for the importance of collectivity, of developing those skills.
Yeah.
That everything in a way, there's so many complex relationships set by nature that I think it sort of like clicked all of a sudden for me,
Mm.
something
Hmm.
that um eh, uh, I should sort of like try to look at things from a wider lens, because I was like too into the urban social
Yeah.
environment of Mexico City.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's nice to change settings and I don't know, that I think there's a bunch of stuff that has allowed me to look at things differently, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like a lot of things happened at the same time to kind of take you to that next step.
Yeah.
Cool. And you already knew about it when you were a kid.
I know.
Wild.
Yeah.
Well, we're actually at the end of our time together.
Okay.
So thank
How
you so
sad.
much.
Thank you, Ryan. It's been
Oh,
really
yeah.
fun.
Oh, I love what you've done. That's so great.
I know. I want to see what you have done.
Oh, here's one thing.
Cute. It
And
looks
then,
like a peyote.
what's that? Oh, yeah, maybe. Like an artichoke? Is that what you mean?
Well, no. I thought the first thing I thought is a peyote, like that, you know, the cacti.
Oh, yeah.
That's a medicine plant.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know
Yeah.
why, because yeah. Anyways, that's what I thought.
Yeah. So this is the kind of stuff. Well,
Cool.
thank you so much, Pia.
Yeah.
That was really fun. And
Look at this. I thought if I should remove that from the desk, but I left it.
oh
It's
no, what is it?
it's like a pre-Hispanic dildo
Oh,
made of
nice.
stone.
And what's it? There's like a, is that a jaguar?
It's a little jaguar.
Oh, nice. He looks happy. He looks like
Yeah, happy dildo.
yeah, he likes his job. Well, thanks again. And
Yeah.
and this, just to let everyone know, this is the final episode of Doodle with Me. So I'm really excited that we had, it looks like a good group of people here for Pia and my talking and doodling. And I hope you doodled with us, and I hope you continue to doodle. So if you want to see, so I'm just giving now, like, I'm just talking about, like, if you want to see past episodes, just go to Ryan Hill Studios, IGTV, and it's like a whole archive. There's 54 episodes with different artists and philosophers and scientists, but basically just people talking about what it's like to be alive, I guess. Never quite sure what we were talking about. It's whatever it is. So anyway, happy that we're alive here, and thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you for the invitation, Ryan, and thanks to everyone that that got on the live stream.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Have a good night. Have a good weekend, and take care.
Yeah, you too. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.